running, trying to get in shape and everything, right?
Yeah.
So
That's one thing you're never going to see me do is run.
Yeah. So I downloaded the Nike Run Club app and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so they have like a train, because I don't know what the hell it is that I'm doing. It's like, oh, you just go out and run. That's what I figured, how you did it.
That's what I would think.
And then, but there's like different kinds of runs you do.
Yeah. Right.
So you have like what they call like an easy run. It's like, well, no runs are easy, but okay, we'll take that at face value. And so there's like that one, and then there's like what they call like a speed run, where I guess it's like intervals where like you'll run at like a certain pace for a certain amount of time. Yeah. And then you'll like either walk, or they have like these other ones that are called fartleks.
Fartleks?
Yeah. So, and with that one, you like run at a certain pace, and then so you'll run at like whatever your 5K pace is, right? Which is faster than like your easy pace.
Is 5K 5 kilometers or is it 5,000 meters?
That's the same. So like there's 1,000 meters in 1 kilometer.
Thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
My brain was working real hard trying to figure that out. And so, but anyway, so I downloaded this that way I can like have like the run scheduled out for me, and I don't have to like think about it.
Yeah.
Well, yesterday I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up in the morning and go drop Autumn off at daycare, and then I'll go before I go to work back at the house.
Yeah.
Like, I'll go up to Gold Dust Recreational Park.
Yeah.
And I'll go do my run there. Well, yesterday was one of those fartleks or whatever. So it was like, oh, run at your 5K pace, and then for like 1 whole minute.
Yeah.
And then drop down to like your recovery pace for 2 minutes. And you're going to do that for 21 minutes. And so, but there's a 5-minute warm-up before that.
Yeah.
So
where you doing what?
You're running.
It's not warm up.
Yeah. So
it's just exercise.
But I've been doing it for like 2 months, so I've gotten better at it.
Yeah,
right. So like I'm not like out of breath and wheezing the whole time.
Yeah, you're like cardio conditioning.
Yeah. So I get out there, and I've never run in the morning before.
Yeah.
I usually run around lunch because that's what I do during my lunch times. I'll go for a run.
Yeah. So
I get out there, and I finished my 5-minute warm up, and like in the app, I got my headphones in. It's like, okay, well, we're about to start the intervals, and so I get about 2 intervals in, and so I got like 5 minutes of the 21 minutes done. So I still got some time to go here.
Yeah,
like a lot of pain I have
You're
to live.
Less than 25% done.
Right, correct. And about that time, usually around 8 o'clock, I usually go to the bathroom.
Oh, shit. Oh, no.
So I start running, and I start getting like these pangs.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, no. I was like, I'm not anywhere close to being done.
Yeah.
And I'm the only person in this parking lot. So it's not even like the building's open so that I can go in and use the bathroom. So I was like, I'm at an impasse. I must decide on what it is that I'm going to do here.
Yeah.
Either I can go home.
And how far away are you from the car? Are you like running the trail around the grounds?
Yeah, so I'm on the back end.
Oh, so you're like all the way away from your car.
I'm as far away from my car as you can get. So at that moment, I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I got to keep running.
Yeah.
Because either way, I still got to get over to the car.
Yeah.
So it'd behoove me to just go ahead and keep running.
Yeah.
So
and
I was
if
like,
I keep running, I'll get to the car faster.
Yeah, I was like, so if I keep running, if by the time I get back over to where the car is, like where I would cut to go to the car, if this goes away, I'll just keep going.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to have to redo this run.
Yeah.
It's like, this is not fun already.
Yeah.
I'd rather just get this over with. So I run, and by the time I get over there, it stops. And then it goes away. I'm like, okay, I'm in the clear now. I can go ahead and finish this out.
Yeah.
And then I finally get to like the second to last interval, and once again, I'm back over in that spot again.
And it hits you.
And it hits me again. I was like, I'm not stopping now, because if I do, I'm gonna have to redo this whole stinking run, and this has been really hard, and I do not like it.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I'm just gonna go ahead and finish. By the time I got done with that last interval, I was clenching so hard that, like, my butt cheeks were quivering.
Like now you're running, like power walking towards the end, just keeping your butt clenched. You're doing that, this one,
And so, like, I finally get back to the car, and, like, I open the door and, like, sit down, and I have to, like, sit there for a second.
Yeah.
And, like, concentrate.
Yeah.
I'm like trying. You try to, like, find that sweet spot in between, like, trying to hold it in but trying to relax at the same time.
Right.
So that way, like, it just kind of washes over you, and then it goes away.
Yeah. You feel like the pressure kind of moves up some. It, like, moves up into your hips instead of, like, from your groin. Yeah, I know exactly.
So that's how my Friday started. And I was, like, all sweaty.
Yeah.
And it was
just
like,
in a bad way.
Yeah. Well, and, the thing is that when I was running, it was like everything was wet.
Yeah.
Like, it's all wet and damp.
Wet and damp and humid.
Wet and damp and humid.
Yeah.
And,
so
like,
you're all lubed up, ready to slide out.
And, like, I was, like, had, like, this, I was sweaty all over, but it was, like, cold sweat. And I was like, ugh.
Just feeling bad. I just feel bad.
Oh.
So, actually, it's been 1 year. It will be 1 year next month. But last year I started dieting and going to the gym.
How much weight have you lost?
I am down 35 pounds from last year.
Very nice.
But I've been at 250 since November. I got to 250, and that's where I've been. But a lot of that is because when the holidays came around, I really backslid. Like, I was going to the gym for 2 hours every day, like, no exceptions. And I kept that up for about 5 months.
No.
And
how did you feel during that time? You felt pretty good?
Yeah, I felt good.
I'd imagine, like, after, like, probably the first month, you probably felt like shit.
Well, I don't know, because, like, I was sore for sure.
Yeah.
But, like, mentally, I think I was in a good place because I was, like, excited to, like, I was like, all right, here I am. I'm back in it. I'm back in the groove. But, that's kind of how I've always been. Like, I'll get, like, where I'm like, I'm all gung-ho to go to the gym, and I'll keep it up for a long time, and then I'm just like, fuck it. But, yeah, so the holidays came around, and, at my old job, I had a bunch of PTO saved up towards the end of the year, or just that I hadn't used. Mm-hmm. And, like, with the amount of days off that we got anyway during that month, I've effectively took 3 weeks off of work.
Very nice.
Yeah. And it was kind of funny because before that, Mary was like, are you going to take 3 weeks off from the gym? And I was like, no. And I did. And I lost that motivation. And I just couldn't get back into it. But yeah, I've been at 250, but I have really been watching, like, my caloric intake because at my new job I sit at a desk all day long, so it's like I can't eat like I was eating when I was going to the gym 2 hours every day. But at but I am doing at lunchtime my office is right next to a trail, like a walking trail. Mm-hmm. So I'll go and walk. I'll drive down to where, like, you park on the trail, and then I'll walk 15 minutes out, 15 minutes back, and that gives me time to get back to my desk and eat lunch and all that. That way I'm being somewhat...
that's good.
Being somewhat active, and then at the top of every hour, I'll do 10 push-ups. And anytime I get up from my desk to go get water or coffee, I do 10 dips. And I know that doesn't really do much, like, spacing that out over the course of the day, but it does kind of break up the day, and it gets me up out of my chair because I can't just sit in my chair for 8 hours straight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's too much.
Yeah. Especially this week. We had a deadline that we had to meet. I think I worked 60 hours this week. There was one day I stayed at the office till 2 a.m.
Oof.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so when I was going to the gym every day, it almost never failed. Like, as soon as I pulled into the parking lot of the gym, I got to poop.
Yeah.
And I hate pooping at the gym. Because it's one bathroom. And, like, you'll be sitting there pooping, and you're, like, just kind of looking at the door, and somebody walks over there, like that. You're like, oh, no.
What is that John Mulaney bit where he's like, someone's in here?
But this this one time I forget what I had cooked because I was getting home at like 3:30, 4 o'clock every day, so I had plenty of time to just kind of chill and then get dinner cooked. And when Mary comes home, we ate. We kind of hung out for about an hour, and then I would go to the gym.
Yeah.
And whatever I had cooked that day, it made me really gassy, and it was like painful gas. Not like painful when it came out, but like just gas pain. You know,
like building up. A
lot of pressure. Yeah. And I was like, I'm really gonna try and just kind of hold this in, and like if I really can't, I'll just go to the bathroom and let one rip, and then come back out.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of sitting right there, like it wasn't really moving around. It was just gas pressure, and then it started like hurting my sternum.
You're like, oh,
I was like, man, I'm just like full of gas.
Like, am I having a heart attack?
I'm like inflating like that bitch from Willy Wonka. And so I finally got over to, I kind of worked my way from one end of the gym to the other, and I finally got over to the free weights, and I would do like chest presses and tricep raises and things like that just on the bench. And the first thing that I do on the bench is chest presses with the dumbbells. And so I laid back and I pushed the dumbbells up, and then when they came down, I farted so fucking loud. And I had my headphones in, and I heard it. I heard it past my headphones, and I know that the dudes on flanking either side of me were like, "Oh my god!" Because one of them goes, he like whipped around real quick. Oh man.
Yeah, I always remember back when I was in the military, I worked out a lot, so I would go to the gym pretty much every day. Yeah. Like I would go in the morning, I would go again after work. So I was going twice a day. Mm-hmm. So, but I was always taking like pre-workout.
Yeah.
And pre-workout did that to me too.
And then like 600 milligrams of caffeine or something.
Yeah, pretty much just
like
straight caffeine.
Yeah.
So like I would take it, like I would be on the ship, I would take it, and then I would go to the gym. And by the time I got to the gym, I was like running into the into the locker room, like trying to get there as quickly as possible.
I imagine you just like busting in through the doors like Kramer. I love watching videos of people who go to the gym and like it's like their first time ever setting foot in a gym. And they're just like on the machine. Like you have a dude who's like on the road machine, but he's just like moving the things up and down, or just making an ass of themselves. It's like, but I also kind of feel bad because it's like, how about instead of recording that person, you go over there and you help them, you know what I mean? Because they're probably, if they keep doing that, they're not going to make any progress.
You're going to hurt yourself.
Or they're going to hurt themselves.
Yeah.
And God forbid they figure out how to get on the leg press.
Yeah.
And lock their knees.
Some of them, like, I feel kind of bad. It's like, I think they kind of understand what it is they're supposed to be doing over there, but they're not really quite sure.
Yeah.
And then you'll see some people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, have you ever seen the one where, like, the dude, he's, like, on the, I always forget what they call this machine, but they always have, like, the two pulley systems in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
And he, like, grabs them, and he, like, runs backwards and then, like, runs forward.
Yeah, like he's swinging like Tarzan.
Like, obviously, that's not how that works.
Yeah. There was this one dude who would always usually be there. Like he would come in about 30 minutes before I finished up, and like just his routine and my routine would kind of meet at this point where we would meet at the barbell rack, and that was where I finished up. I'd finish up with barbell curls, and then with raises like this, and he would be doing barbell curls at the same time that I was. But I know that you're not supposed to like thrust it out with your hips and swing it up towards your face.
Yeah.
Because then you're not really doing anything with the muscles that you're trying to work out. So I try to stay as still as possible with my body, and do all the movement with my arms.
Yeah.
Like no hips, no shoulders, nothing, just straight up arms. Well, this guy, he's standing over there and he's going, he's just like swinging it like this. I'm like, dude, all you're gonna do is throw your fucking back out.
Well, like it's okay for you to use like a little bit of hip to get it up or whatever. Like if you're like at the end of your set and you want to like get a couple extra reps out, right? Yeah. Just so you can get the work in. Like if you want to use your hips a little bit to get it up and get it going, Like you can get it up, and then you want to concentrate on the was it eccentric portion of the lift. So like when you lower it down, you want to lower it down slowly.
Yeah.
So that way you're controlling the release of that muscle tendon or of that muscle as it's going down. Right.
That's the big thing, is activating the muscle group while you're through the entire ROM or range of motion. It's like a lot of people think that just because you completed the motion that's all you got to do, but there's more to it than that. I mean, you wouldn't think that there would be, because obviously if I'm bringing the weight from here to here, I did something, right? But you got.
Well, it also depends on what it is that you're trying to do with that exercise, right? So, like,
that's true.
if you're doing something just for like functionality, like you're like, oh, I just want to get stronger, like then not necessarily you don't want to concentrate on that. But as far as like curls and stuff are concerned, like, yeah, you can curl like to curl more weight. I mean, you should probably do that sometimes, right? So you want to be able to add additional weight to whatever it is that you're curling.
Yeah.
But a lot of times with curls, like you want to build that muscle group up, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the whole point of the bicep curl. It's like everybody wants bigger biceps.
Yeah,
like, well, how do you do that? It's like, so that way you lift it up, and as you're lifting it up, you're really concentrating on squeezing at the top. That way that muscle group contracts, and then like as you let it go, you're releasing down slowly. That way that muscle group is really having to concentrate on lowering that weight. And also, too, when you get down to the bottom, you just don't want to noodle arm it down here and, like, let go of all that tension. Yeah. Like, the best thing to do is to go down and still have tension on that muscle group. That way, it's time under tension. So the more time under tension that you have on that muscle group, you're essentially forcing it to grow. Yeah. Because you're tearing that muscle fiber.
Yeah, well, that's how muscle grows.
Exactly. And
you
then
tear
it grows
the muscle
back.
fiber, and then it builds back with, like, protein. It's almost kind of like scar tissue in a way. I would always start my workouts with 30 minutes of cardio. And I was doing 30 minutes of cardio, and then I would do weightlifting and then finish with 30 minutes of cardio, just to kind of keep my heart rate going.
Yeah.
Because my biggest concern was really just losing weight.
Yeah.
And I finally dropped down to just doing 30 minutes at first and then weightlifting the rest of the time and then just going home. But my thing was, like, I never stretched. Like, I would just be all stove up and go straight into the gym.
I don't either.
Jump right in.
I'm really bad about that.
Oh, man. I'll never forget my first day back. I just went back in like I didn't skip a beat. And the next morning, like I couldn't get my arm past here.
Yep.
Like my right arm would not extend any further than this. So I was like driving like I had a gimp arm. Like I was like, oh, it hurts so bad.
I've done that enough times. Like this last time when I started like running and lifting and everything again, I was like, okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, here's the plan.
Yeah, it's like we're gonna go so light, like for the first 2 weeks, that like it's gonna feel like I'm not lifting anything.
Yeah,
like that's the play. That's what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's like, because you don't want to jump back in. It's like, especially too on like leg day, like I don't want to go in and do squats.
Yeah.
And then, especially too, because you can always tell with squats when you haven't been doing squats.
Yeah, because you don't get down very far.
Because you get down, and then, like, there's a difference between squatting and you've been squatting for a while and it's a real hard workout. There's a difference between that and having not squatted in a while and then going in there and trying to squat and you're like halfway through your set or whatever.
Yeah.
And then your whole legs are like, hey, if you go down again, you're not coming back up.
Yeah. Your body's like, no, absolutely not. I'm not doing this anymore. I always really enjoyed the feeling of, like, after a really good workout. Like, you just feel, you're sore, of course, but it's like a good feeling. Like, you feel kind of limber and loose. And
well, it's like a release of, like, dopamine.
Yeah. And then, like, when you lay in bed, especially, like, after a good long workout, and you just, like, sleep really, really well.
Well, I mean, you would think, too, like, if you think, like, way, way back, it's like, kind of, our bodies are built to do stuff.
Yeah, you're kind of built to kind of go all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like hunting and
yeah,
and
it's
all
sort of
that
like
stuff.
what is it, like over in like Eastern Africa and everything, where like they do like the persistence hunting and everything. Well, like they'll run an animal for like 8 hours.
Yeah.
until it just like falls over, and then they kill it.
Yeah, you just walk over and stab it.
Yeah. Like that's kind of amazing to think that like the human body can run for that long.
Yeah. Well, that's why Kenyans always kick the shit out of everybody else at like marathons and stuff.
Oh, I watched a little documentary or whatever on YouTube the other day about the first guy to ever run a sub 2 hour marathon.
Yeah.
It was fucking wild.
Yeah.
Like they went through like how fast that is. That is a 4 minute and 21 second mile split. So he was running 1 mile every 4 minutes and 21 seconds for 26.2 miles.
Wow.
That is fucking moving.
Yeah, it is.
To put that in perspective, they did the thing.
I'm tired just hearing that.
They went and they looked like on a treadmill, right?
Yeah.
So most commercial treadmills go up to, it's like 13 miles per hour is essentially what it is. Where you like go all the way up, it's like 13.0.
Yeah.
Like when you set it all the way at the highest setting. And like some of them don't even go up that far.
Right, yeah.
Right? He was running at like a 13.7. So his pace was so fast that you can't even get a commercial treadmill up that far to go for 2 hours.
Good
Not
God.
only that, but running on a treadmill and running like regularly
like on pavement
is totally different.
Yeah.
Because you're not having on a treadmill, you're not having to propel yourself forward.
Yeah.
Or like on pavement, you are. Mm-hmm. But like they were showing, I guess because he had been getting close, right? So back in like the early 2000s, he was like a middle distance runner, which was like 3,000 to 5,000 meters or whatever. Yeah. And he was like, okay, he was okay. He wasn't, I think he won a gold medal at like a world championship, but that was like the only one he only ever won. And then he like ended up not making the Kenyan Olympic team. He's like, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
So he started running marathons, and he started fucking smoking people, everybody. Yeah. And it was like, I guess it clicked for him. He was like, oh, for like middle distance, I can't outrun these people.
Yeah.
But I can keep this pace for longer than they can. And like he was beating people by like 3 or 4 minutes. Like the next person.
That's so fucking long in a marathon.
That is massively long.
Yeah.
That is massively long.
Yeah.
So like his first one, I think he ran it, and this might be incorrect, so you have to go look this up if you're interested in it. But he ran his like first marathon that he won in like 2 hours and like 14 minutes or something like that. And then he like slowly just kept going down and kept going down and kept going down.
Yeah.
And then he got down to like 2 hours and like 21 seconds or to like 23 seconds or something like that. Mm-hmm. He was real close to like a sub 2 hour marathon.
Right, yeah.
So they were like, let's see if we can get him to do it. Mm-hmm. So essentially what they did is it was actually kind of interesting because they had a pace car. Well, and they had like, I think it was like in Austria they did this. And it was super flat where they were at. And it was like a loop. So it would go down and they'd turn around and they'd come back, right? And I think it was like 4 times. It was like 4 loops that he had to run or whatever. Right. And so they had a pace car, and the pace car had like the exact like speed that it had to go in order for him to run a sub 2 hour marathon. And it had a laser on the back of it that like shot down a beam with a line,
like where he needed to be.
Yeah. Right. And so they had a pace car. Obviously, like they have these cars in like other races and everything. But they were swapping out pacers. So they had like 5 to 6 people that were running with him at a time. But they were running a quarter of the marathon. So they were running that speed. But the crazy thing is that they were dropping off and putting new people in. Mm-hmm. And he was still running that the whole time.
God almighty.
Like that's fucking insane.
That's crazy. That's almost superhuman to be able to do that. Or is it really? Maybe he's just a normal human and the rest of us are all...
Well, it also, too, it comes down to, like, it's like, well, what's his VO2 max? What's he able to do as far as, like, the amount of oxygen that his body takes in and how it disperses it across, like, all of his muscle groups and everything and his internal organs. And then also you have to take into consideration, like, how is it that his body handles lactic acid buildup?
Right.
Like,
He definitely has a physiological...
Correct.
like leg up.
Yeah. It's like also too. It's like, does he have longer legs and a shorter torso?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So it's probably not something like you could take just anybody else in that crowd and train them up to that point.
But you could probably take anybody like from like a child and like you could probably take anybody from a child like and teach them how to run a marathon at some point.
Yeah.
I think pretty much anybody can probably do it because like your body's kind of built to kind of go all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Or like it should be.
Yeah. Yeah. If all you do is smoke and drink Diet Coke and eat M&Ms.
Hey, our grandpa did that.
No, he lived to 63 or something around there.
67, I think.
67. Yeah. You know what the craziest thing about that though was he had a full head of jet black hair.
Amazing.
The day that he died.
Never turned white, and it never dropped out of the top of his head.
No, he never lost any hair. It never lost any color.
Nope.
And I lost mine at fucking 23, so I didn't inherit that.
Yeah, you got that from mom's side.
Yeah, apparently that's like hair and body hair you inherit from the mother's side.
No.
I think you actually inherit a lot of traits from the mother's side. But speaking of inheriting traits, I saw something kind of interesting the other day. This guy was talking about, well, actually, before I jump into that, let's bring the podcast. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 29th episode of the Thicc Bois podcast. We have, I know we're all excited to get into Super Cringe Thursday, so I'm going to try and speed through this genetics thing right quick. But we're almost to 30 episodes.
Yay.
I never would have guessed when we started this that we would have done 30 episodes.
You should put in like that like clapping thing that they do with all the YouTube videos, like
I actually the other day I looked on our Buzzsprout account. We're getting really close to 2,000 downloads.
We are. Inching closer and closer.
That's crazy. So thank you everybody for all the continued support.
Thank you so much.
That's just wild.
Except for you, Meta. You zucked us.
Yeah, what the fuck, Zuckerberg?
Yeah, you zucked us.
We can't fucking run ads. We can't fucking do it. Like, and I looked at our page, and we don't have any restrictions on our page.
No.
So I don't know what the deal is.
It's both of our personal accounts.
Do you think that's what it is?
Yeah, because I was trying to sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like trying to boost the post. And I can't do it there either.
That's funny. Because we keep talking shit on Facebook. Oh well. But anyway, so this guy he was talking about growing avocados, and he was like, if you took a seed out of like a Hass avocado, like what you get, like you know what they make guacamole and shit out of. If you take that seed and you plant it in the ground, you get an avocado tree. It's like, but it wouldn't bear fruit like the avocado that it came from because it doesn't grow true to seed.
Yeah.
It was like you might get some just kind of crazy ass looking fruit that is, yes, a avocado, but it might taste fucking awful.
Yeah.
And it was like if you all you did was take avocado seeds from Hass avocados and you planted them, it was like 1 in every 50,000 avocado trees would produce a fruit similar to the one that you planted.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's because of the way it's pollinated. It's like you get genetic information from the male plant that pollinates the female plant.
Mm-hmm.
And you get that mix of genetic information, and a genetically unique organism comes from that.
Yeah.
And that makes sense because, you know, like your mom and dad had 3 kids. How come they're not just 3 of you?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, we're 3 from the same parents, but we all look totally different. We sound different. We just as different as could be. With different blood types, all that. So what they'll do is, like, you know, they'll plant an avocado seed, and when it gets like a good sturdy kind of like stem out of the ground, they'll cut the top of it off and take a branch from an avocado tree that does produce that fruit, and they'll graft it on there so that it kind of grows together, and then it's just another regular avocado tree like the one that they want.
That's wild.
Yeah, and apparently apples are even worse. Apples only grow like a fruit like that, like what you want, 1 in every 80,000.
Really?
Yeah. So they have to do grafting in order to get fruits, those exact fruits that they want.
You know, Mom and Dad have that apple tree.
That crab apple tree?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Granny Smith apple tree.
Is it a Granny Smith?
Yeah,
I
remember when we bought that because we bought it from Mama for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
And then she planted it right there. Yeah, that's a Granny Smith apple tree.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever eaten the fruit off that tree.
I have. They are fucking sour.
Yeah. Because every time I go and look at it, it's usually got like worms and like a blight on it. And like.
Well, I mean, they don't spray it with the right stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the fucking fruit you get at the grocery store has got like a layer of wax on it.
Ugh.
And like, that's like whenever I always bring an apple for lunch and I always wash it off real good with warm water because it's got fucking pesticides and wax and like, you even look at like the top of it where the stem is, there's like dust on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh,
gross.
Ugh. Well, it's like, have you ever seen the pictures and stuff from like before like we started fucking with the genetics of like some of the vegetables and fruit and everything?
Like completely like wild bananas.
Yep, and like watermelon. Watermelon was crazy looking.
Yeah, it doesn't look anything like.
And like carrots are wild looking.
The thing, like usually what you see with that is a lot less of like the fruit, like meat. Mm-hmm. And more of like more like rind and seeds.
No,
because what we want from the fruit is that like they call it meat. Yeah. We want the meat of the fruit, but the meat of the fruit doesn't do anything for the actual fruit or the tree or the seed.
It's essentially just a carrier.
Yeah.
That way, it has something to feed off of once it gets planted.
Right. Yeah. It's like the watermelon one. Like if you take a watermelon from the store and you cut it open, it's just fruit meat all the way through.
Yeah.
But like an original the OG watermelon had like that white like rind, that hard shit, like spider webbed throughout the entire thing, and you'd have like little pockets, like little niblets of meat in there, just dispersed.
I mean, it makes sense that we would have messed with the genetics of that fruit in order to get what we wanted. It's the same thing we did to wolves to get dogs.
Yeah,
People took the more docile ones, you bred them with other docile ones.
Yeah. People are weirded out by like the GMO things. It is a genetically modified organism, but all that means is like we took the ones that, this fruit bared a really good fruit, and this plant bared a good fruit, this plant bared a good fruit, and we took the genes from those plants and so on and so forth. It wasn't like they took it into a lab and they were like, and like injected it with like a fruit serum and like the amount of people who think they're like this like evil. Like scientists, like a dark lab on a mountain with a lightning storm behind it. That's where all the food comes from. It's like, no. They're trying to make it profitable and like efficient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said that, it reminded me of Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
Oh, yeah. What was that guy's name? The dude that... What was his name? Was it Dr. Nefarious?
I don't remember what his name was. He was the one that wore like the bodysuit thong thing or whatever, and like had the crazy hair.
Yeah, they would always do like cold opens with him. I like the one where his assistant walks into his room, and like his arm is like shoved halfway up his ass. And he was like, my body has decided to eat itself. And he pulls in a little bit further, and he goes, it hungers. Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Aqua Teen is just such a.
It's like a fever dream.
Yeah, it's so cerebral. It's just a really weird show. It's a good show though.
Yeah,
I love it.
Well, I mean that's the thing. Kind of like going off topic, but that's sort of the thing with like Adult Swim. Is like you just have like they're kind of swinging for the fences all the time.
Yeah, they just kind of greenlit like any idea that came through. Like, there's so much garbage. There's garbage on Adult Swim for sure, but every now and then you get a real winner. Well, let's talk about Super Cringe Thursday.
Boy, that one was hard to sit on for a week because we found that over a week ago.
Yeah, I have watched that video probably 500 times because every time I watch it, there's a new thing to notice.
Yeah, there's like a dog that comes into frame and then kind of goes away.
Why is the Sonic costume so dirty?
Yeah.
All the other costumes look like brand new. His is like the fur like on the front.
He's got mange.
It looks like he fell down in the yard before they came in and fucking did that video. So for anybody who didn't see it, Super Cringe Thursday for this week was 4 individuals. 3 of them are little people. One of them, the dude playing robotic. Okay, here's the thing. He's not a little person. It's weird to say a normal person. Like, what's normal? Okay, he's a normal person.
A person of average height.
But he's not of average height. He's very tall.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's probably like
he looks like he's about 6'7".
Yeah, he's certainly over like 6'3".
Yeah, he's like very like tall and slender.
Yeah,
and then like he's flanked by these little people. So it's like where? So I don't know. It's just a weird that went with such a tall man.
Yeah.
I'm saying this as if they held casting
How do
calls.
these people know one another? I
don't know.
guess
It's
would be
such
my
an
question.
odd group.
Yeah, it's a very odd grouping of people.
Little people are not. You don't see them a lot. I mean, you really don't. I know one. One of my good friends. That's the only one I've ever met. Ever.
We had one that was a grade above me in high school. And I, for the life of me, cannot remember her name. And she was super fucking mean.
Well, I just mean as far as like ones that I know personally.
Yeah. But the one you're talking about, she's a sweetheart.
Oh, yeah. I love her to death.
I love her.
And she's probably listening. If you're listening, I love you. But he's got 3. And the thing is like you watch this video, and like I said in the comments, you have to watch it at least twice. Yeah. One, just watch it normally as you would. And the second time through, watch Tails the entire time. Because he has no fucking clue what's going on. So they're all like, they're shooting like a TikTok or YouTube short or whatever, and they're lip syncing a song. It's like from one of those children's songs YouTube channels, like Baby Shark, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Which, by the way, I looked up that song that they're lip syncing. You want to take a guess at how many views the video has?
50 million.
838 million
views. Oh my God.
And that's not the worst part. I went to their channel and sorted their videos by most popular.
Yeah.
Their top video has 10 billion with a fucking B.
What?
Yeah. And it's
How?
it's just like it's these 4 like Korean people, and they're just making like children's songs.
Yeah.
It's the same fucking thing that happened with Baby Shark.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the business model.
Yeah, well, I mean, what the fuck are me and you doing? Because these is not difficult to make. I can make a stupid fucking inane song like they did and do some little dumb dance, and there you go. 10 billion views. Baby Shark made $17 million off of YouTube
crazy.
Ad revenue alone.
That is so crazy.
After Google took their 45% cut. $17 million.
That is insane.
For that one fucking song. But anyway, back to Super Cringe Thursday. The thing is, like, they're also, like, at the beginning, it's dead quiet. They're just kind of standing there.
It's like an uncomfortable amount of time.
That's probably less than a second, but it feels like an eternity because they're all just standing there, just staring at the camera, and they're all kind of like half like, hey, here we go. And nobody really is like on time with like what they're supposed to be doing.
No.
Like everybody's like missing their cues. Some people are like mouthing the wrong parts.
Yeah.
This was like attempt number 1. And they just said, you know what, that's good enough. Post it.
It was so bad.
It was so bad.
It was so bad. I remember because I initially what was last week's Super Cringe Thursday? Oh yeah.
It was Hi, I'm
Charmander.
Yeah.
Okay, so I was like, well, I'm going to get a jump start on next week's. So I'm going to go ahead and start looking.
Yeah.
And so I just typed in TikTok cringe, like into the YouTube search. And so that wasn't the one that I found. What I found was that song, like other people doing that. And I was like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
But I think I can find a worse one.
Yeah. Let's go a little deeper.
Yeah. So I was like, first of all, what's that song's name? And I went and found it, and then I typed that in, TikTok, into the YouTube search. And then that short popped up. And because I was like scrolling through, and I like came to like a screeching halt when I saw it.
It does stand out. It does.
And then I clicked on it, and I was like, my eyes got so big. And then I sent it to you. I was like, I think we have next week Super Cringe Thursday. And then you sent me back the screenshot.
I just screenshot it and zoomed in on Tails' face. There's so much going on there. There's a lot you can glean from that face. He really doesn't want to be there. I don't think
I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be there either.
He didn't want to be a part of it. And the funniest part of that whole video is that he misses his cue, and he just at some random point he walks toward the camera with his hands up, and he just kind of dejectedly walks back to his spot, and then the dude playing Robotnik, he taps him on the shoulder, go, it's your turn. And he goes back out there with his hands. It's whatever they were trying to do, they got the worst possible take.
Oh yeah.
And that was the one that got posted.
You think they were just we're just going to shoot this one? The fact that they all took the time to get into those costumes.
Yeah, and paint their faces.
Yeah.
I will say though, the Robotnik costume is good.
Oh yeah. I was pretty impressed by that one.
He looks like Dr. Robotnik, in the Jim Carrey version, in the new movies. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. I watched it again a couple times, and towards the end, after I peeled my eyes away from Tails, the two guys as dressed as Sonic and Knuckles, and the dude dressed as Robotnik, everybody's kind of laughing, and I think they're all having a good time.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for them that they enjoyed
their
time together.
Yeah. It's just very shocking the first time you see it.
It is.
If they're having a good time, I'm glad they had a good time, but it was quite shocking to see the first time.
It was quite cringy. I just love that picture. It's such a good reaction picture. I was looking at the comments. Somebody said, "Is Tails on drugs?" And somebody said, "He is in pain." The top comment said, "My man Tails is discombobulated." Oh man. Yeah, I don't think the guy that played Tails really wanted to be a part of it.
I don't think so. He didn't seem like he was too enthusiastic about it.
He really didn't. Just that fucking dejected walk back to his mark. Just fuck this, man. I don't want to be here. And they're in a really nice house.
Yeah, I was there's a lot to take in that video.
Every corner of the video has got something that you can just kind of look at and be like, what's with that?
Yeah, there's this massive couch behind them. And then obviously it's this very high ceilinged house that has an overhang up at the top of it.
Like a mezzanine.
Like a mezzanine level.
And they've got Funko Pops lined up all along, the glass handrail.
Yeah.
Which, for anybody that doesn't know what a Funko Pop is, it's just a plastic figure of pop culture things, Star Wars to Lord of the Rings, anything like that.
Because I kept seeing those everywhere, and I was like, what are those? And
it's collector items.
And I went and found, and it was they wanted $50.
Mm-hmm.
I was I'm not paying $50. What are you, crazy?
Yeah. The thing that gets me about it is,
and there's some people that have thousands of them.
Yes. There was a Reddit post that went around a little while back where a dude's he's like, my girlfriend broke up with me because she didn't like that I had a $2,000 a month budget for Funko Pops. Yeah.
What?
It's first of all, she's an idiot for leaving you if you've got $2,000 a month to just fucking spend on Funko Pops. You're obviously doing okay financially. She should have hung out for a while and just dealt with that. But also, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. What are you doing?
Or maybe he didn't have that money to spend. You know what I mean? Maybe he was like digging into like, necessary funds.
Yeah.
In order to.
Or maybe he was like taking out loans.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I'm sure that there's people that did that with fucking Beanie Babies.
That's so wild. Like collector item stuff is so wild to me.
It is.
Like you are hedging all of your bets.
Oh yeah.
On the fact that it's like one day my numbers are gonna come in.
And it's like a lifelong investment.
Yeah.
Like they recently showed the dude who got the Guinness World Record for like the largest collection of Sonic the Hedgehog memorabilia, and it was like, okay, it probably took him something like, I don't know, 30 years, however long Sonic has been around, in order to amass all this.
Yeah.
And a lot of constant effort too, like trying to get shit from like Japan that didn't release over here, or like track down things that they only did a limited run of. And it was like, and what did it amount to? Just being in Guinness World Record?
Well, not only that, but it's like, okay, well, it's like if you plan on using this as like an investment item, it's like, well, what's your return on investment?
Yeah.
It's like if you put in $500,000 into this collection, it's like,
what's it going to be worth?
Yeah.
When,
it's like, so you get back 300,000 of it, you just sunk $200,000 into this thing.
Yeah, and there can never be a point where you stop adding to it, right? Because they're going to keep releasing Sonic the Hedgehog merch.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to keep buying that shit.
Well, you're going to keep buying it, but then also it's like you're going to run out of space to put all this shit.
And when you die, who are you going to like will it to?
Yeah.
Because they're not going to fucking keep up with it.
I don't want this.
Yeah, you inherited your great uncle's Sonic the Hedgehog memorabilia collection.
Yeah.
Like, can you just throw that in the garbage?
Yeah.
Just get rid of it. Also, that's like, why put me in that position? Because now I know, like, this is your life's...
You're a real asshole.
Yeah, this is your life's work. Like if Dad had something like that, I can't just throw it away. That was Dad's life work, but I don't fucking care about it. Like, and nobody else does. But I'm an asshole.
I'm going to go find the other 3 people. Like, do you know how long it's going to take me on eBay to sell all this stuff?
Yeah. It's like, and by the time I get done, like, doing, like, the shipping and all that shit, like, it's not going to be fucking worth my time.
No.
That's why what you do is you say, you put on eBay, Guinness World Record, Sonic the Hedgehog memorabilia collection, parentheses, entire collection, $200.
Yeah.
You might have to come down off that price a little bit, too.
Well, that's kind of like a very niche thing.
Yeah, super niche, yeah.
To, like, put all that work into.
Even within the gaming community. Like,
yeah,
video games as a whole is already, well, not as much as it used to be, but still pretty niche. But, like, even within that, like, the Sonic the Hedgehog fans are, like, a very small
portion.
And they're fervent fans.
Yeah.
For sure. No doubt about that. But anything outside of that...
God bless them, because they've had some real stinkers.
Yeah, yeah. I was complaining about Halo fans taking L's for years. I think Sonic the Hedgehog fans have had it way worse.
Yeah.
Way worse.
Yeah, you haven't had a win since the Genesis.
Yeah, no shit. I don't know, that Sonic fan game that came out did really well. But it was like one of the 2D like side scrollers.
Yeah.
But ever since they went into 3D, they just couldn't get it right.
Mm-mm.
It was like even they released one game a while back called Sonic Boom. Yeah. And
Chicky Boom?
No. God. It was called Sonic Boom, and the game, of course, did terribly, but they released it alongside a TV show.
Yeah. And
everybody loves the TV show. But the reason that they love the TV show is because it's self-deprecating. They just shit on Sonic. Not Sonic the character, but Sonic the IP the whole time. Even the characters are like, "Oh, we suck," and everybody's like, "Ah, you do." So you're kind of like, "Well, okay. How about instead of doing that, Sega, we take pride in what we have, and work to make it better instead of saying, look at this thing we created. Isn't it awful?"
Yeah, it just is.
You remember this thing you loved? We ruined it. And they're like, They did ruin it. I love it.
Yeah, it's, I don't, there's so many different things, especially like from our generation that it's like you have like the weird Sonic people, and then it's like I understand like it's okay to like have like these interests and everything.
Yeah.
It's like, but you get to a point where it's like this like fandom that they have. Mm-hmm. It's like you need to go like be more about like your job.
Yeah, you're letting it like take over your life.
Yeah, exactly. And then like people get into like these weird ones. It's like what's the one with like the My Little Pony people?
Yeah, bronies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what started all that because I feel like, you know, there was never really such a thing as like a fandom, like where you have like this like kind of conglomerate of people who were just like,
it was
you know,
people who like the
pour
show.
their lives into this one piece of media. Maybe it was the internet and like chat rooms and things kind of started all that. But you can't just really kind of be like a fan of something.
No.
Right? It's like people will, you know, kind of attach you to whatever that thing is that you like, even if you like it even a little bit.
Yeah.
Or, you know, if you like it moderately. Everybody says, okay, you like such and such, you are that kind of person. It's like, well, I like several things. That just happens to be one of the things that I like. I think it might have started with Star Trek fans.
That or Star Wars fans.
Well, even Star Wars, I mean, Star Trek, I would say more so Star Trek just because it was a TV show and there was more consistent media released.
Yeah, and you certainly do see a lot more people doing like cosplay with like Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think it seems like that was probably like the one that kicked it off, right?
Well, also that's a very easy cosplay to do, right? You got a red, blue, or yellow long sleeve T-shirt.
Yeah.
And then like a pair of slacks. There you go. You're a Star Trek character. Speaking of laziness, my buddy Daniel, shout out to Daniel. He sent me a picture of a screenshot of some. I think it might have been The Mandalorian, or maybe it was the new Obi-Wan show that has come out. It's a screenshot of a character standing there. And you would never, if somebody showed you this, you would never guess that it was from a Star Wars something.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't look like Star Wars. It looks like a homeless man in the woods with a gun. Because it's a character standing there with a gun, and it's just an AK in the Star Wars universe.
What?
Yeah, it's just a matter of fact, I have the picture right here. Now, the thing about it is, when they were filming the movies, they would do things like, okay, so like you remember when they were on Planet Hoth, and they had like that trench line, and they were all shooting the laser guns and everything. Well, all those guns that they had, the props that they had, were like antique guns that they just put like random shit on, like glued it on to make it look kind of sci-fi. Yeah. So you kind of see like just kind of the silhouette of the gun, like in your mind's eye or whatever. Yeah. And you're like, okay, that looks kind of futuristic, plus it's shooting a laser. Yeah. You know, your brain kind of accepts that. But if it's just a dude with a fucking MP40, you're going to say, wait a second. Yeah. I recognize that. That's familiar to me, and it stands out. Yeah, look at this picture. It's just a dude with an AK-47. Does that look like it's from Star Wars?
He's even got the magazine in it.
Yeah. It's like now I know like within like the Star Wars like universe or whatever, the Mandalorians did technically use shotguns to fight Jedis because the Jedis can't deflect a projectile with their light sword. Yeah. It just goes right through. So that's like a very like, you know, that's like a little nugget of which the writers of this Star Wars show don't know. I promise you that.
That's
lazy.
Wild.
It's so fucking lazy. And it really drives home the point that they're just fucking making money.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't give a fuck.
There's no passion. There's no creativity. There's no effort. It's just, hey, film a dude doing a thing, and we'll call it Star Wars, and everybody will say, here's my fucking money. Why try hard?
Well, it's so like scummy.
Yeah, it's like creatively bankrupt.
Yeah.
You know?
It's just scum. It's just they obviously don't give a fuck about the IP. No. Like they're using it as like a cash cow.
Yeah.
It's like how much money can we suck out the teat of this cow?
A lot.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Apparently
a whole bunch.
Before everybody just goes, we can't handle this anymore.
yeah. And then they'll move to the next thing and do it
And then what they'll do is once everybody starts complaining, like, you have gone so far down the hole with this thing that it's like you're not even fucking trying at this point. And then they'll go, and then they go, well, you just don't like the characters
because they're black.
Yeah, because
they're women.
Exactly.
Right? Because they're transgender.
It's like, no, it's because you wrote a shit fucking story and you got a dude standing there holding a fucking real gun. You dumb fuck. It's like you know exactly what the fuck it is that you're doing.
Yeah. That I think also too that outrage, they can direct that outrage back on people and just claim that they're like bigots and stuff is an easy out for them to be lazy.
Well, and also too, when they do that, it's like you're not even like addressing the issue because like you're not even going like in order for you to. It would have to be when they do that, they go, well, you just don't like it because of diversity.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I just told you why I don't fucking like it, and you dodged the question.
Yeah.
You fucking coward.
Yeah, you coward. Coward! It's like, okay. Me and everybody else in the whole wide world has bitched about Star Wars because there's a lot to bitch about. It's very bitch worthy. So,
look, let's give it credit where credit's due. The prequels were bad too.
Oh yeah, they were.
They're real bad,
but they're enjoyable.
It's
Star Wars.
Exactly.
It looks like Star Wars. It sounds like Star Wars. It is Star Wars.
No.
It's a terribly boring movie as far as the plot line is concerned, especially in the first one because it's all politics. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah.
But you know, the second and third one those prequels have some of the best lightsaber fights and lightsaber duels. But anyway, so in the original Star Wars trilogy, the one that came out in the 70s, you had Princess Leia, you had Lando, you had all these characters. It was a diverse group of characters, right? And then in Force Awakens, you had Rey, and you had Finn, and you had more diverse characters, right? It wasn't just white men walking around, right?
No.
So, really, when you look at like the amount of diverse characters, it's kind of the same. Yes, it's a lot of white dudes, for sure. But, you know, when people said that they didn't like the first Star Wars movie, or the first trilogy, those people weren't labeled as bigots and racists. They were just labeled as people who just didn't like Star Wars.
No.
So why then, when The Force Awakens came out and everybody poo-pooed on it, were they just able to say, you don't like it because you're an incel, bigot, misogynist, racist?
It's because that's the flavor of the day, right?
Yeah.
So like that's kind of like the go-to now. Right? Instead of like actually like addressing what the issue might be, it's like you go to this fringe group of people that piggyback on it.
Now, I'm sure that there are some dudes out there.
That's what I'm saying, right?
Sitting in their basements, losing their mind that the main character is a female.
Yeah.
That guy exists, for sure.
For sure.
But me, who's looking at the story...
But the other 98% of us that are looking at the story saying that's a shit fucking story, it's like, I don't give a fuck if the person running around has a fucking 10-foot wiener and boobs. I don't care. Did you write a good story?
If he has a good character arc, or she, or they, whoever, Zim... If they have a great character arc, I don't really want to give a fuck. Yeah. If it's a well-written character, I don't give a shit.
But where I have a problem is that you're going to say that this person who has never seen a fucking lightsaber before picks it up and fucking battles Kylo Ren to a draw and has never used like the Force ever and then is using a Jedi mind trick. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to hear that shit.
Luke wasn't even like competent until like the second half of the last movie.
Yeah, what are you doing?
But anyway, it's like, you know, Kathleen Kennedy, who was in charge of that whole kerfuffle, she was the one who was like, oh, it's all these racist white men, bigoted white men that don't like what I've made because I'm a woman. If I go to a restaurant, and there's a male chef and a female chef, and the male chef brings me a hamburger, and I eat it, and I say, wow, that's a good hamburger. I didn't say that because he was a man. I said it because it was a good hamburger.
Exactly.
Now, if the female chef says, I can give this guy something, I can give him anything. He just gave him a hamburger. And she shits on a plate, and she sets it in front of me, and I say, I don't want to eat that. She says, well, you don't want to eat that because I'm a woman.
Yeah.
No. I don't want to eat it because you shit on a plate.
Yeah. Which is what Kathleen Kennedy did with Star Wars.
Yeah. And then, like, all the other people in the restaurant are like, hey, this guy over here won't eat her food. Look at him. He's a misogynist. Like, no, I'm not a misogynist. I just don't want to eat feces. I get very heated about that just because it's unfair. It's unfair to people who actually enjoy, the good parts of that media.
Yeah.
It's like, why is it wrong for me to want you
to do a good job?
Yeah. Why is it wrong for me to want the thing that I enjoy to be good?
Yeah. Why? It's like, how about you treat the intellectual property with respect instead of trying to use it as a cash cow? That way you can get rich.
Star Wars was one of the most influential pieces of media throughout history.
Yeah.
And it's like, even like beyond respect, you need to treat it with a little bit of reverence. Of course, it's campy and it's kind of lame, and I get that, but you can't deny the impact that it had on culture as a whole, worldwide.
Absolutely.
So you can't just go in here and throw your Disney money at it.
Well, also too, Disney did that fucking thing where, like, of course they did that, where like a bunch of people complained and they were like, well, you hate women and you hate people of color and all this stuff, and then turn around and you look at the poster that they put up in China.
Yeah,
where's Finn?
Yeah,
where is he?
Photoshopped him out.
You fucking photoshopped him out.
Yeah, they cropped out the lesbian kiss that they weren't even ballsy enough to give more than like a half a second of screen time to in the first place.
Yeah.
So yeah,
no, I don't want to fucking hear it from you.
There's all that woke virtue signaling. It's all bullshit. It's all hypocritical, and it's unfair.
Well,
that's the worst part is the hypocrisy.
It's the same thing that the fucking racists used to do back in the day, where you just shout people down, right? It's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, but you're just doing it from like a position of virtue.
Yeah.
Right. It's like of course you should want to have diversity, right? You should want everybody to have the same like equal opportunity.
Well, it is
right?
I would say that representation is, of course, it's important.
Correct.
It is. But if you're just having diversity for diversity's sake, it's pandering. And we talked about this before.
Yes.
You're pandering.
Right.
And it's very obvious.
Yes.
I think.
Well, not only that, but when you do this pandering thing, it's like you do it in such an obvious, it's really like if I was somebody that was black, like it would really piss me off, because it's like the only reason you're doing this is so you can get my money. Mm-hmm. It's like you're not doing this for any other reason than that.
Well, I feel like culturally they're starting to realize that, because there's this recent kind of kerfuffle with Walmart selling Juneteenth ice cream. Have you heard about that?
Mm-mm.
So Walmart made a post or something like that they were carrying Juneteenth ice cream in their stores.
No.
And of course, Juneteenth is the day that the black community celebrates emancipation, which is very important to them, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? So it's like Walmart is this big faceless mega corporation, this soulless thing.
No.
And it says, here's your black people ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you come buy it?
Come buy it for Juneteenth.
Yeah.
Show up to your Juneteenth cookout with our Walmart brand Juneteenth ice cream. Juneteenth sponsored by Walmart. So and there's this huge backlash against it, and rightfully so. But then people are seeing it like, oh, black people will complain about anything. Well, no, they don't want to eat feces.
Yeah,
they're sick of it. Everybody's sick of the pandering.
Well, what's the same thing that all these corporations do during June. for Pride Month.
Yes.
It's like they'll put up their little, they'll do their little rainbow thing. Like Xbox will do their little rainbow thing, and Ford will do their little rainbow thing.
It's so fucking soulless.
Yeah. It's like, but my issue is, it's like, if you're going to be about it, fucking be about it.
Be about it, yeah.
Be about it.
Be about it.
And you know what
Make
that means?
donations and be active.
Yeah, that means be active in that community. Make those donations. And not only that, but in these other countries where they're not so happy to have people that are gay over there, where they still kill them and stone them to death.
Where you also sell your product.
Where you also sell your product and you don't put that up on that social media handle.
Yeah.
It's like, be about it there too.
Yeah. I'm so sick
because if you have a corporation that's like, hey, we're putting our foot down and we're going to do it this way and we're going to do it that way across everything, it's like, even if you do something like that I might not agree with or whatever, not saying that I don't agree with.
No, I get what you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but you have to really be about it.
Yeah.
Because people can sniff out bullshit.
Absolutely.
People can sniff it out.
I'm just so sick of the parading around and acting like you did something.
Yeah.
When you did fucking nothing.
Did fucking nothing except yelled at people on the internet.
And we talked about it before, I know, with them removing, black mascots off of products and getting rid of the Indian off of Land O'Lakes butter.
Yeah. What did that do for anybody?
What did that do for anyone?
It didn't do anything for anybody.
It did nothing for nobody, and you're touting it as like this big fucking victory.
Yeah. It's fucking lazy.
Lazy, and it's soulless, and it's hollow, and it doesn't mean anything to anyone. No. And I feel like people now, with the whole Juneteenth thing, it kind of gives me a little bit of ray of hope, because people are starting to say, hey, wait a minute. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
You're just making money off of us.
Exactly.
You're just making money off of us. And meanwhile, what are you paying your employees? What does a black Walmart employee make when they're on their feet for fucking 12 hours a day, stocking your shelf, stocking that fucking Juneteenth ice cream?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I'm not one of these people that think that, a low-skilled job deserves like $30 an hour.
No.
That's not sustainable. It doesn't make any sense. But don't pretend like you're this champion of virtue. When you're just some fucking mega corporation, soulless corporation that
lobbies in Washington so that you can get your fucking way.
Yeah.
And you're in bed with the fucking government.
Yeah. And you fucking ran out all the mom and pop stores and ruined people's livelihoods. And you're standing on a mountain of corpses as it is anyway.
No.
Like, I see it. I see you for what you are.
No.
I will try my best to buy local and support local businesses. Because number one, if there's a lot of income coming through your local economy, that makes a better living for everybody all around.
Right.
That helps the community. If I'm just throwing money at this fucking hole in the ground that has a Walmart sign, here you go, Walmart, here's my money.
And then that goes off. Yeah, exactly.
I'll walk back over here and well, this isn't getting any better.
Exactly. Well, it's not only that, but you also, of course, corporations have to bear a lot of this blame, but so does the government.
Yeah.
It's because at some point, your cost of entry into the field with some of these licenses and all this other shit that you got to get, it's well, why are you barring entry into this? Why are you doing that?
Yeah.
And why are you making it more expensive in order for people to get into this?
Yeah.
It's why does somebody need a license in order to cut hair?
Yeah.
It's if somebody can prove that they can cut hair and enough people want to go to them to get their fucking hair cut, they don't need a fucking license.
No. All they need is customers.
Exactly.
People who say, hey, I know that you're good at cutting hair. Here's my money. Cut my hair.
Exactly.
It's well, I can't because the government says I have to have this little laminated card first.
Yeah, exactly. It's okay, and what happens if they go ahead and decide to go ahead and start cutting hair?
They'll get fined.
They'll get fined.
Or thrown in jail.
And what if they don't pay that fine?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to send people with guns to their house to get them, and they're going to enforce it where they're going to enforce that law with force. And what is force? That is violence.
Yeah. And I'm supposed to believe you when you say that you're this champion of virtue.
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't fucking buy it.
Not for a fucking second.
I don't fucking buy it like those black people are not going to buy your Juneteenth ice cream, Walmart.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself. Well, that got a little heated. But it's tiring, and I'm just sick of it.
Yeah.
I'm sick of seeing, the virtue signaling from it's bad enough when you see it from regular people.
Yeah.
But when you see it from this fucking conglomeration that's monopolized and cornered the market, like, we don't see that mountain of bodies behind you.
Exactly.
How are you going to stay?
Pay no attention to the...
Hey, don't look past it. Look at me. Look at me. I painted myself in blackface. Don't you like that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're a fucking asshole. Well, and that's the thing is, like, I think enough people are, like, waking up. It's like I get it from the point where people are like, they were like, oh, we're finally getting represented now. We're finally getting people to, like, acknowledge that we as a community exist.
Yeah.
Right? But at some point, you have to pull back from that and be like, the only reason they're doing this is that way they can make money off of you. They don't actually give a fuck about you.
Yeah. But, sometimes these marginalized groups, that's the best they get. Because it's like you said, if somebody, say, they wanted to start up a grocery store or like a mega store, right? That carries, over here you can get your groceries, over there you can get an Xbox, over here you can get a fucking couch. If you wanted to do that and your idea was I want to provide this service, but at the same time I want to help out the black community. So you got to start from the ground up, right? Like you said, there's all these hoops and things you've got to jump through, this fucking gauntlet of fire. And you got to get your license and this, that, and the other. And I'm not saying that it's unfair that you have to have capital to put up front in order to start a business.
The only capital that you need is in order to stock the shelves,
and
in order to have the brick and mortar store. That's the only thing you should fucking need.
Yeah. I don't think you should have to fucking get a license in order to sell that shit.
That way the government can say, yeah, you can sell that stuff now. Go fuck yourself. Fuck you.
I mean, you got to pay taxes like the rest of us. And we're not ever going to get away from that. Do you like having roads? I mean... But the thing is...
Yeah, well, I mean, but also, too, they could use the gas tax for the roads and everything. Like, they already do that. It's like if we had a more clear understanding of where exactly each tax went, then we could cut back on some of this bullshit.
Yeah, but that's all very muddy and clouded for,
they make it muddy and clouded for a reason. Yeah. That way they can continue to increase taxes on everything.
And I'm sure that there's a lot of reasons why it's hard to break into a market, but the only reason that it should be hard is because it's saturated with other people trying to do the same thing.
That's the only reason it should be hard to get in the market.
It shouldn't be hard because the government has made it hard, and it shouldn't be hard because the government allows places like Walmart and Target to fucking stick their cocks in everybody's ass and ruin it for everyone else.
Correct.
That's unfair. It's like, well, we can't call, they made monopolizing stuff illegal, right? But that's very face value.
Yeah, that doesn't mean fucking anything.
When you start looking at, like, the kind of hierarchy of companies, right? Who owns what? I think it comes down to, like, if you follow that trail enough, there's like 6 families.
Yeah, that pretty much own the large corporations.
Everything.
Exactly. It's like PepsiCo.
Yeah.
What does PepsiCo own? Well, it's like... What is Coca-Cola owns like all these different chip companies. Yeah. And they own all these different...
I'm pretty sure they own Nabisco, is that right?
I think so.
No, Nestle, I think.
Nestle, Nabisco, yeah.
And the fucking CEO of Nestle said that water is not a human right. That's an evil fucking person right there.
Well, also it's illegal to collect your own rainwater. Like, what the fuck are we doing? I can't collect fucking rainwater that falls. I can't collect water that falls from the fucking sky. I can't put it in a fucking barrel. Like, that's illegal. I can't do that. Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah. It's... You kind of have to put in a little bit of footwork, too, when you start to look at, like, okay, I want to spend my money where it matters.
Yes.
And... you really got to follow the trail of, where ultimately does this money end up going? And once it gets there, what is it being used to fund?
Yeah, okay. Well, let's take into consideration what we talked about last week with the whole BLM organization as opposed to the BLM, like what BLM stands for,
That wasn't
right?
a very long paper trail because they found that bitch pretty quick.
Yeah.
that embezzled all that money. But, like... if you are a person So here's a very easy example, right? Okay, so Chick-fil-A. It's very it's widely known that Chick-fil-A supports institutions.
Traditional marriage.
Well, traditional marriage, but also
Right.
institutions that actively work to kind of undermine gay rights.
Correct. Yes. That's what I meant by they support traditional marriage organizations.
Yeah. But I should really preface that statement with I have heard.
No.
Because I personally haven't really looked into it because I like Chick-fil-A. I like the food.
No.
I mean, it is what it is. But if you look at like where your money goes and where it'll eventually end up, me spending my money at Chick-fil-A doesn't help the people who are standing out there in the fucking driveway in the 90-degree weather taking my order.
No.
It doesn't help those people. If I go to a store that a family from the last 3 generations when they came over on a boat from for where fucking ever, and they've got this little storefront over here in this little strip mall, and they've been selling chicken sandwiches there for 30, 40 plus years, and I spend my money there,
That directly helps.
that directly helps those people.
Correct.
Chick-fil-A will be fine if I don't spend my money there.
Yeah.
But me going over here and spending my money with these people, I'm not spending $500 a time when I go in there, but it could help make or break that that livelihood. And that's a very simplified explanation, but it really that really is how that works when you spend money with these mega corporations.
Well, there is something to be said for that because when you look at like what is sustainable as far as like these small towns go, right? Like I wouldn't say that. I guess comparatively, we live in a small town, right? It's not as small as it used to be. It's getting larger.
Yeah, it's getting a lot larger.
It's getting a lot larger. But however, it's like when that starts to happen, you start to have like these franchises that come in, and it's like, and then that drives out the local economy.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then the local economy is at the mercy of these large franchises.
Right.
Right?
So what if one day they say, hey, we're not making as much money here as we could, and they all pack up and leave? Then you're left with people who are entirely dependent on these fucking corporations.
Exactly.
They just fucking took off. How many towns, especially like, steel towns, where they have mills and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like, all this town, back in 19 fucking whatever. Hang on, I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me.
Bless you.
This used to be a steel town. We made steel here, and everybody fucking was able to eat food.
Yeah.
Well, then the steel company, they moved 5 states over, and we can't pack up and fucking leave and go with them. So now we're stuck here with nothing. We got nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's the same thing can be said for like all these like car manufacturers and everything, where everybody's like buy American and all this shit. It's like, well, that's not even American. They made it in fucking Mexico.
There are no more American.
There are no
cars.
like really the only American-made cars anymore are the Japanese cars that they sent the manufacturing over here, so that they get made over here.
Yeah. Because it's cheaper. It's cheaper to build a fucking Honda over here and sell it here than it is to build it in Japan
and then ship it
over here and then sell it here.
Well, it's like they opened that massive Kia factory down there near West Point, Georgia.
Yeah.
It's like
Pretty sure Kia is a Korean car.
Yeah, and it's Korean.
Hyundai is too.
Yeah. I think those are that's like a family of cars or whatever, like Kia, Hyundai or whatever. But
imagine if there was a local business that built cars.
There used to be.
Oh, yeah. Avanti.
Yeah.
How expensive do you think that fucking car would be? Because they don't have all the tax cuts and they don't have all the lobbyists.
Back in the day, I think, because I remember they used one of those cars in that Agent Cody Banks movie or whatever. Well, they also got into real bad trouble because they were using the body from like different cars, and they just kind of mushed them together. And they ended up going out of business.
Oh, Lord.
However, but like you look at something like that, where it's like, obviously they got pushed out of market.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, my point is that they kind of pigeonholed us, right? These corporations have.
Correct.
Because it's so cheap.
Well, it's because they have the capital.
Or yeah,
right,
exactly. It's so cheap to go and buy a fucking Honda. If I wanted to buy a car made here, in America, made in my town, and support my local economy, like number one, it probably won't be as good of a car as the Honda.
Correct.
And it will probably be vastly more expensive.
Yeah. Not only more expensive to purchase, but more expensive to fix.
Yeah. Because where can I take it to get worked on if it's being made here and designed and engineered and everything here?
Well, I mean, also, too, like if you want all the modern day amenities, it's like, then it's going to be even more. Like if you were going to build a car from like the 1970s, like early 1970s or whatever, like with like
no power steering,
like no power windows.
Yeah.
Like it's made out of metal.
It's made out of steel.
It's steel. Like then you could probably cut back on some of the costs as far as like the computer and all of the different stuff that goes in the engine and everything. Because you can even open up, like, you remember like we had the truck. Like you open up the engine compartment of the truck.
Yeah.
It's like, there's the engine.
There
like,
it is.
You see all the stuff.
Yeah. It was very easy to access
very
everything.
easy to access everything.
Yeah.
Whereas like, go open up the hood on your car now.
I know, it's a fucking nightmare in there. Everything is so fucking smashed together.
Yeah.
Which is honestly an incredible engineering feat, how they managed to fit it all in there and make the car the size that it is. But, a lot of ease of maintenance kind of takes a back seat to getting all that shit in there. It's like when I had the Impala, burn in hell, in order to change the fucking oil filter, because they had the fucking engine set in there sideways, the oil filter wasn't just like on the bottom where you could get to it. It had like an elbow, like adapter, on the side of the engine block. And so it came out the side of the engine block, and then it did a 90-degree turn and came down, and the oil filter was in that. But you also had to reach past like this little piece of like plastic fucking bullshit and rip that out of the way, and your arm's doing this fucking contortionist thing, and you're trying to grab the fucking thing there. And it's like, a lot of that is probably on purpose because they don't want you to work on the car yourself. Yeah. They want you to take it somewhere and spend $500 fucking dollars to have an oil change done. So I had this terrible oil leak. Matter of fact, when I was trying to figure out why it was leaking oil, I took it to a place over in town to see if he could help me find it, like a mechanic shop where they did like oil and stuff like that. And it was this Middle Eastern man, and I pulled my car in, and
are you talking about the one up by the Quick Trip?
Yeah,
I know which one you're talking about.
And he had me follow him down underneath the car into like this little like dark area,
into the dungeon. And he picks up this big crescent wrench, and he turns to me and he goes, "My friend, you are Christian?" Yeah, he did that to me too.
And I was like, okay. I was like, I really got to think about where the situation that I'm in is. Because I was like, as a Christian, I know like one of the worst things I can do is deny my Christianity. Yeah. And so I was just like, but I was like, also, here's this Middle Eastern man with a crescent wrench.
Yeah, this massive crescent wrench.
I'm down here in his dungeon. And I was like, yes. And he was like, good, me too. And he was like, he was Christian.
Yeah.
And we had like this really cool, like, philosophical religious debate together. Yeah. And I was like, what if I would have been like, no? And he'd been like, get you fucking heathen, and like, smash me in the head. But anyway,
I know exactly what dude you're talking about.
Nice guy. I like him. Maybe he needs to work on his social skills a little bit, but so we couldn't figure out where it was coming from, and it took for a long time, but I figured out what it was. Is so because there's this elbow that attaches to the engine, there has to be a gasket in between that and the engine to make a good seal so it doesn't leak. Well, the gasket had come apart. Okay, no big deal. I'll go to O'Reilly or whatever and get a new one. So I take it up there, and I put it on the counter. I say, hey, I need another one of these. And the guy looks at it, and he goes, oh, for a Chevy Equinox. And I was like, no, for a Chevy Impala. And he goes, no, that's for an Equinox. And I was like,
it came off of that Impala sitting out there.
Well, 2 minutes ago, I pulled it off an Impala. And he was like, well, here, let me look it up. And so he pulled up a picture of one for an Equinox.
Yeah.
And it was that one sitting on the counter. And he pulled up the one for the Impala, and it was a totally different fucking thing. So from the factory, it came with the wrong fucking gasket. And I know that nobody has fucked with it before me because nobody in their right mind would put themselves through what it took to get that fucker off. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing shit like that. Put the wrong gasket on there. Eventually they'll have to take it to a fucking Chevy certified mechanic and, then we can fix it.
Yeah. Well, I know that, like, with the car that I drive now, apparently, like, the airbag, like, light came on or whatever, and I was like, oh, fuck, what is this? Yeah. And so I just started, like, looking up YouTube videos to see if anybody else has run into this issue. Mm-hmm. Essentially what it is that there is a small plastic piece that goes up underneath the seat.
Yeah.
And I guess what happens is that if you have a crash and it slams that seat forward or whatever, it breaks that plastic piece, and then it shoots like a pin back, and that's what releases the airbag, right?
Oh, interesting.
Well, that plastic piece essentially doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
It's just there.
It's there to break.
It's there to break, right? And so it's got like this plug on it, and it gets plugged in, and then that signal gets sent up to the computer. Well, you can go in and replace that part for $700 if you'd like, or you can take it to a certified dealership and have them replace it for $5,000.
Oh my God.
So guess what I'm doing? Neither one of those options. It's like I'm not going to pay that much for that fucking for a little piece a piece of fucking plastic.
Just going to break again anyway?
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened when I had the Avenger, where the fucking
you had a 2x4 in the door.
Yeah, there's a 2x4 in the door, and then also the fucking shifter.
Yeah,
like to get it into neutral and everything. It stopped working because there's a little fucking plastic piece that snapped off, and the fucking coil shot back up into the fucking. I was like, "What the fuck? Are you serious?"
Yeah. So you're telling me that a team of 500 certified professional engineers, that was the best that they could come up with?
No.
A flimsy little piece of plastic?
No. That's not the best they could come up with. That was the most economically efficient thing they could come up with.
Yeah. They were told by the people designing that car, say, hey, here's the idea. We want this thing to break.
Yeah.
Every so often. That way they have to bring it to us.
Well, yeah, it makes sense. It's like, why would they continue to build things like they built them like back in the day where they were built to last? Why would they do that?
You can't make money off of that.
You can't make money off of that.
I mean, look at Apple products.
Yeah, they made it to where it's illegal. You can't open a phone anymore.
Yeah.
It breaks the warranty.
They want you to just buy a new one.
Exactly.
And then I'm supposed to believe that they're all for better the environment?
No.
They're reducing their carbon footprint by making me buy a new phone every time mine acts up?
Yeah, when you continue to change the way that you set up your charging cable.
Do you remember when they said, hey, we're not selling chargers with iPhones anymore so we can reduce our carbon footprint? But if you want a charger, buy this other box with plastic around it.
Get the fuck out of here. You're such a fucking piece of shit.
It's so, I mean, they're not even really hiding their fucking contempt for us anymore.
The thing is like how fucking, like, you must think that everybody's real fucking stupid.
Well, I think they think that we're real fucking stupid because what other options do we have? Is there anybody in town making a cell phone? No. It's fucking... And what would that phone cost?
Yeah, it's just kind of dumbfounding.
It really is. And it's like, there's nobody else that can break into the market and make it better for everybody.
No. Well, what's the barrier for entry?
Yeah.
Right? Well, what's the barrier for entry? And not only that, but what licenses do I have to get so that I'll get taxed out my fucking asshole by the government, and then they drive me into the fucking prison cell?
Yeah.
Because I wasn't able to pay these fucking licensing fees.
Yeah, the only thing that happens is now you're in prison.
Yeah.
And Apple is still ruining the earth. So it's better to just buy their fucking product and keep your head down. All the fucking lithium mines and shit like that. I mean...
all the strip mining that they do for all that shit.
Yeah. I mean... that's a position that it puts us, the regular people, in, right?
No.
Is that we have no other options. You mean you can't not have a phone. You have to have a phone in order to do your job. I mean, most everybody does in order to be able to really do anything.
It's like, you remember like when Wall Street Bets off of Reddit went and bought up all the GME stock?
Yeah, and AMC. And,
yeah, and it pissed off all the hedge funds, and they pretty much wrecked the whole hedge fund.
Yeah. That was like the last, meh that we've had in a long time.
But, I mean, it's stuff like that. Like, where, you can, the seething contempt.
Yeah.
That, corporate America...
Yeah, they're not even hiding it anymore.
...has for, normal people.
Yeah. I mean... there was something I wanted to bring up. Oh, yeah, so, talking about, harming the environment. They have the fucking gall to do the shit that they're doing. And then look at me and say, hey, you need to do more to protect the environment.
Exactly.
What could I ever do to make a difference?
No.
My carbon footprint isn't on the fucking scale compared to you.
No.
This one of the many mega corporations
exactly
that are fucking raping the earth and filling the fucking atmosphere with CO2.
And flying around with their fucking private jet.
Yeah, just fucking hey, look at those normal people down there. Yeah. Hey, you need to protect the environment, asshole. Yeah. Up in the fucking air. I mean, and not even just corporations. Look at fucking China and India, who I'm pretty sure their carbon footprint is worse than the U.S.'s on the whole. But that's where most of our manufacturing is anyway.
Yeah.
So we're still the cause of it. It's just over there now.
Yeah.
So when there's no more fucking clean water, and there's no more natural resources, and we can't fucking keep cows fed, and the fucking sea level's risen 1,000 feet, something insane, there's no more Florida. Then what? It's my fault?
Yeah,
it's my fault that happened. No, it's not. I don't buy that, and I don't accept that.
Yeah.
It's not my fault.
Well, also, too, it's like even electric cars aren't even a good answer.
They're not.
For what the problem is.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot
wound. It's
like,
what's the carbon footprint for what it costs in order for you to get that lithium up out of the earth?
Yeah.
What was the carbon footprint cost for that?
Yeah.
It's not only that, but I don't have the fucking capital to buy that car.
Yeah, that car's really fucking expensive.
Yeah, that car's really fucking expensive, and
I
can't afford it.
I'm back in the same position where I have to do what I can afford.
Exactly.
So I'm going to come drive around my car. It burns gas. I'm sorry, everybody. I just couldn't do it. I'm the worst because I'm, releasing whatever amount of carbon that I am.
Yeah. But it's your fault.
Yeah, but it's my fault, right?
Yeah.
It's my fault. No. I'm fucking put in this position.
Yeah.
It's your fault.
We're living in fucking clown world.
It's fucking clown world. Everywhere you look, it's just fucking just everywhere.
You got shit like that going on, and then they turn around, and it's the same thing we were talking about earlier, where it's you're selling fucking Juneteenth ice cream.
Yeah, and I'm a racist too on top of that. You're a racist, misogynist piece of shit. You're ruining the environment. I'm just trying to live, dude.
Yeah. It's you honestly think that, most of the population runs around and, that's what they're fucking doing all day long?
Yeah.
It's no, they're trying to take care of their fucking families.
Just hunched over little goblins, just ruining everything.
Yeah, and corporate America is this bastion of fucking...
Of virtue and morality.
Same thing with the fucking government and all their fucking wars that they've started.
Yeah.
All the innocent people that they fucking killed.
Yeah.
They've displaced over 40 million people just in the last fucking
Drone
20 years.
Drone striking weddings and schools.
Yeah. The fuck out of here. I ain't trying to hear that.
We're doing our best to support humanitarian efforts.
Yeah.
You need to do more to support it.
Yeah. It's and then you get fucking all the fucking virtue signaling coming out of the fucking White House and all that shit while they're fucking dropping bombs. What, you going to drop a bomb with a fucking rainbow flag on it? You're going to kill all these fucking innocent people under the guise of fucking virtue?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You don't give a fuck about that. You care about making your fucking money. That's what you care about.
I can't go to my job without a car. The car that I have has to burn gas because that's what I can afford. I need a phone in order to do my job. The only fucking two options is this and Android, and they both rape the earth in order to make those things. Guess I gotta get one of those anyway. Oh, it's lunchtime. Where do I go eat? I can go over here to this mom and pop store and buy a chicken sandwich for $30 because that's what it costs for them to make it. Or I can go to Chick-fil-A where gay people get killed and get one for $5. I can't afford that one. I guess I'll go over here.
Yeah.
Here I am going around killing gay people and ruining the earth.
Yeah.
Because what other option do I have?
Yeah. But it's your fault. It's not the corporation's fault.
It's my fault.
It's not the corporation's fault.
Everybody else is fucking brainwashed corporate bootlickers are looking at me saying it's my fault that I'm ruining the earth.
Exactly.
No, I don't buy that.
Well, it's the same. Well, and then you get this thing where like the government and all these fucking mega corporations are playing each other. That way that you don't understand that they're in bed with one another.
Yeah.
That way you don't look and go, hey.
Yeah, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. You're in this together.
Yeah. But yeah, right, that's the state of the world. That's where we are.
Well, I mean, we could also talk about that fucking nonsense that happened over in fucking Texas with all those fucking cops standing outside.
Yeah, let's jump on that real quick before we take off. I would imagine everybody knows. There was another school shooting where some fucking lunatic, he shot his grandma first before he left the house, I'm pretty sure.
How much you want to bet he was on an FBI watch list? They knew about him.
Yeah, that's what I've been looking for. I've been looking for that article to come out where they were watching him. The FBI always does their best work after the fact, right?
Yeah.
And what do they really even do? They show up and they say, yeah, we knew about that guy. Bye. And
yeah,
leave.
exactly. Well, it's like not only that, but it's like you also have to take into consideration how many of the people post facto they came up as like, oh, they were radicalized by a government agency.
Yeah.
It's like, you remember those bombers up there for the Boston Marathon? Radicalized by the FBI.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, I kind of had this little bit of a revelation when I heard the news about what happened in Texas. I didn't react to it. And then I had a moment where I was like, well, wait a minute. I should be disgusted by this. I should have had an immediate reaction where I was disgusted and heartbroken about what happened. And I am. But initially, I was just kind of like, there it is again. That's not a healthy way to look at the world.
No.
This shouldn't be an occurrence that happens and you go, well, there it is again. Like, you know, like any other thing that happens. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know. It's not, you can't ban guns. You'll never get rid of them all. All you're going to do is take away people's ability to defend themselves. That's all you're going to do.
No.
Because there's still going to be fucking psychopaths who are going to have a gun even though it's illegal to do so. That dude still went down there and shot children even though that's illegal to do that.
Yes, correct. Yeah. It's like, where did he go? He went somewhere where there were soft targets.
Yeah.
It's like, he didn't go down to the local police station and start shooting at them.
Yeah.
They might not have fucking shot back by the fucking response that they had.
He was a fucking psychopath and a coward. And the police, you know, took a page out of the Columbine shooting and stood outside for 40 minutes while he fired over 100 rounds and slaughtered 19 children.
Yep.
And on top of that, they were arresting and tasing the parents who are doing
OC spraying, pepper spraying them right in the face.
Who are trying to
get in to go get their kids.
Go and get their children.
And you know who shot that dude? It was an off-duty Border Patrol guy who put his fucking kid on, grabbed a fucking rifle, and went in there and fucking shot the kid. While the cops fucking stood outside and fucking...
Even worse than that, it's been confirmed that some of those police officers did go into that building.
And got their kids.
And got their kids out. I don't... I don't know. Like I said, I don't know what the answer is to school shootings. It's got to have something to do with, you know, radicalization, and it's got to have something to do with, you know, kids growing up in the households that they are, and you know, just the mental health issues that we face in this country. I'm sure that's a huge part of it, because a normal, sane, healthy person is not going to go and do what that guy did.
No.
He's not going to do what the dude in Buffalo did on the train.
Nope.
He's not going to do what that fucking guy did at the supermarket, wherever that was. I don't even remember.
That was Buffalo. The train one was NYC.
Okay.
Yeah.
Normal people don't do that. I have a gun. I don't do that.
I got one too, and I don't do that.
Most people
I got a couple, and I don't do that.
So I don't know what the answer is to that, but I do know that the people who make the decision to take the oath to protect and serve the community should have gone in there and done something.
Yeah.
Anything to help those kids. And it's a bad look. I understand that you can't just let civilians go all vigilante.
But when those civilians are begging you to go in there and do something.
Begging you to do anything. Please go save my kid. You're the one standing there with body armor and a gun. Go help my child. In the time that I'm standing here begging and crying and freaking out, my kid is fucking 50 yards away with a fucking gun pointed at him. And you're not doing anything.
Yep.
And you won't let me go and do anything.
Nope.
What happened, what that kid did was evil. It was evil. And what the police did was indifferent, which might be worse.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of my favorite movies of all time is Boondock Saints, and there's a line at the very beginning where the priest says, "We must all fear evil men, but there is an evil which we must fear most, and that is the indifference of good men." And that's very true. It is very true. If you have the power to stop evil, and you sit on your hands, that blood that was spilled is on your hands too.
Yep.
I don't know if they were just following orders. I don't know if they were told by a superior.
It doesn't matter. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
But there were children 50 yards away being slaughtered by a psychopath.
Stack up and go in.
Grab your fucking nuts and go save those kids. There's nothing. Yep. I mean, there's really nothing to be said about it now. It's over. I mean, those kids are dead.
It's like I said. It's like it took an off-duty border patrol guy to go in there by himself with plates and a fucking
baseball cap on
and shoot the fucking kid, shoot this scumbag. He went in there by himself.
Yeah.
He didn't have a team with him. Where's your fucking SWAT team?
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I saw at least 7 fucking officers standing there. One of them, they had a guy on the ground fucking tasing him.
Yeah. So
I would have had no sympathy if those parents would have beat those fucking cops to death.
Oh, yeah, none whatsoever.
If those parents would have beat those fucking cops to death and went in that school, I had no fucking sympathy for them.
None at all. I'll be one of the first people to support the police and defend the police, but if you're doing something like that, how could I ever be on your side?
And the thing is too, is that right there goes to show me that I cannot count on the police to do the right thing.
No.
So what?
You can't count on the state to do the right thing.
No, you can't count on the state to do the right thing. You need to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah. When there was that gunman, I can't remember if it was Tennessee or Texas. It was up in the bell tower of that library, and he was shooting at people. The town, the civilians, got their rightfully owned arms, and they went and they killed that motherfucker.
Yeah, they took care of it.
They took care of it. Here we are in the current day.
Yep.
Where the police are forming a line and tasing parents who are trying to get to their children and save their lives.
Yep. It's like, okay, somebody made a pretty good point the other day. So there was a video that I saw where it was like a local school somewhere had essentially every like teacher's room had like a box in it. Right, and if there's an active shooter, they flip this box, it locks every single door, and then they have like hot zones where like they spray like smoke and stuff into like the hallway, so that the shooter can't get into the rooms and everything. It costs about $400,000.
Yeah.
How much money have we sent to Ukraine?
Yeah.
About $80 billion worth.
Yeah. How much do we give to Iran? who actively is trying to destroy us.
Yep. So you could have done 130,000 schools. Would that money give them some type of protection from this kind of situation?
Yeah.
But instead you're sending it over there. That way you can get us into a hot war with Russia.
Another proxy war, or even a direct war.
Yeah.
And then you want to turn around and tell me that you're making all these efforts towards humanitarian issues and that you care and that you are somehow this champion of morality. I don't buy it.
Nope. Not for a fucking
I don't
second.
buy it. Well, all I know is that those 19 kids are dead now. And I don't believe you.
Nope. Not for a fucking second. Well, not only that, but nothing's going to change because it's a wedge issue.
Yeah.
Well, what happens when you bust the wedge and then you get it fixed? Well, then you lose that voter base.
Yeah.
That was an issue for them. Mm-hmm. And then they go away. Nobody has any interest in fixing it. It's going to take a radical change at a grassroots level.
Yeah.
In order to get it fixed. When enough people go, you know what? I'm not okay with sending all my money up to Washington so that you can squander it on all these pointless fucking wars that you're getting us into and bankrupting this fucking country. We have shit here that we need to fix.
Yeah, and prop up these mega corporations that have ruined my local economy so that I have to send my kid to a public school where he's not protected by the institution.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm done with that.
Yeah. What, that way you can turn them into this person that's going to go work for these mega corporations and not ask any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, no thanks. I'm not interested in that.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the thing. At the end of the day, me and Wesley are just two dudes sitting in a basement, and we're just talking. So we're giving you our opinions on things, and I'm really kind of saying this to cover our ass in case somebody was like, I'm inspired by the Thicc Bois podcast, and they go to a fucking government building and start shooting people. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's not what we're saying.
Here's the thing is you have got to make a choice and be active in where you spend your money, and you don't take anything at face value from the government or these corporations.
No.
Because it is very likely that they are actively working against you.
Well, the most important thing
in a very roundabout way.
The most important thing is that you reach across the aisle to somebody who has opposing views to you, and you try to have an open and honest conversation with them out of love and not out of hatred.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you do that with people who are in office.
Yeah.
You have those conversations at a personal level with people that you know.
Yeah.
Because the only way that we're ever going to fix this is that if we have enough people that go, you know what, I don't agree with you, but we're both Americans and we're both humans.
Yeah.
And so let's try to work together to try to get this fixed because our elected officials aren't going to do it.
If all you do is clutch your pearls and say, no, my idea works, and then over there on the other side they say, no, my idea works, and then neither one of those things come to fruition, then we'll never know. We'll never get anywhere where anything gets any better. It'll only get worse. And then it'll
continue to drive the divide.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to take. It's going to take people having open and honest conversations with one another. Yeah. And it's going to be hard. Some of it's going to be hurtful conversations that people don't want to hear.
Very uncomfortable conversations. With anything in life, anything at all. Nothing gets better without some kind of work, some kind of effort. It's like you running and almost shitting your pants. You have to put yourself through that in order to get healthier.
Exactly.
You can't just get healthier sitting around and stuffing your face full of Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
All you're doing is getting fat and hurting gay people. Yeah. So, it's going to take a lot of work, and it's going to be very uncomfortable, and it's going to be probably there's going to be violence, I'm sure, because that's just kind of human nature. But
however, at a personal level, you should resist your want to be violent.
Yeah.
Because that's not going to fix anything. Yeah. That's just going to drive the divide even further.
No. You can't give in to that.
You can't give in to it. But it's like the only way that it's going to get fixed is that, and it takes a long time to do it the way without violence.
Yeah, very long time.
It takes a long time.
Yeah.
But what's the alternative? What, we're going to go down the path of fucking Stalin in Russia?
Yeah.
Or we're going to go down the path of Hitler in Germany?
Yeah.
or what we're going to demonize and be disgusted by people that we don't agree with, and what you're going to essentially say that it's okay to eradicate these people.
Mm-hmm. All I know is that the walls are starting to come down. I think that more and more people are starting to see, the man behind the curtain. Now, there's not nefarious intent behind every single thing, but a lot of the big stuff, there's something more there.
Yeah,
and it's usually greed.
Yeah. Well, also, too, it's like you look at, there was an article that I shared from the New York Times, or it might have been the Washington Post. It was one of them. There's been 2 separate occasions where the Supreme Court has ruled that law enforcement officers do not have a constitutional duty to protect you. They have no constitutional duty to do so.
But they can pull you over for having 2 dark windows.
Or not wearing your seatbelt.
And then pull you out of your car and beat the hell out of you. They can do that.
Yep.
But they don't have to go in there and protect your kids.
Yep.
But they can stop you from doing it.
Yep.
So why on earth would you think that the government has your best interest at heart? They don't.
Nope.
They don't.
That's why I think that it's important that people understand that it's important to try to be as loving and active in your community as possible.
Yeah.
And try to reach across to people that you might not agree with.
Be in service to others.
To others.
And ask questions, too. Ask questions about why you believe the things
correct.
You believe.
Don't outsource that to the government.
Yeah.
Don't do it.
I think asking questions, too, is a big thing. That's also very uncomfortable, too. It's like, even, with me, it's like I question the things I believe all the time. Why do I think the way that I do? Why do I believe the way that I do? I struggle, of course, with my faith a lot, but if you never ask questions and you kind of accept things are the way they are, and you don't do anything,
stick yourself into an echo chamber, and
if you don't do anything, things will either do one or two things: either stay the same or get worse. And usually, they just get worse. So yeah, put in the effort and make an attempt. Well, we went a little over on time today, but I think it was important to have that conversation.
Absolutely.
And at least just kind of get our thoughts out on the situation, because it's fucking disgusting what happened down there in Texas.
And it should be stated too that I don't think it's okay to paint a broad brush with anybody, and that includes law enforcement officers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
However, what I saw in that video was absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it was, for sure.
And if you happen to be a law enforcement officer that listens to this, I honestly very, very sincerely hope that if anything like that ever happens, that you take your oath very seriously, and that you protect the people that live in your community, or you protect the people that in the community that you serve and protect.
Yeah, that you made the decision.
That you made the decision to serve and protect those people.
To do that job.
Not just enforce the laws that make the government money.
I wouldn't take just some random dude walking down the street and say, hey, get your ass in there and save my kid.
Exactly.
He didn't make the decision to have that responsibility placed on his shoulders.
Yep.
But a law enforcement officer did, so I expect you to do that.
Yep.
Well, thanks again for listening, everybody.
If you know anything about this podcast,
I feel like the last 4 episodes kind of been this way.
Yeah. you know that the last quarter of the podcast gets very serious.
Yeah. So, like I said, thanks everybody for listening. We're getting close to 30 episodes, getting real close to 2,000 downloads. I don't want to promise that we're going to do anything, because we still have stickers left over from the 1,000 download celebration.
But we will say thank you.
But we will say thank you, and we'll figure something out. We're very slowly adding these little facets to our podcast, and
I'd really like to start doing stuff for YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that would be helpful.
I have a lot of ideas there too, and if you would like to help support the podcast, share it with your friends. I know that a lot of people are already kind of I listen to what I listen to, but if you're like, no, dude, for real, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay if they don't like it too. These dudes are fucking assholes.
Yeah. I know we can be a little abrasive at times, but yeah, thanks again everybody for the continued support. Yeah, share the podcast with your friends and family. If you enjoy the podcast, leave us a like and a rating and a review on whatever your favorite podcast platform may be. We still got some stickers. If you want some stickers, send us a message on Facebook or an email to thickboypodcast@gmail.com, or reach out to us on Twitter. We're on Twitter as well, and we'll give you or give us your address and we'll get them shipped out to you. If you have any questions or comments or concerns about anything we talked about today or the past couple of weeks, we've been touching on some pretty hot topics. Yeah, feel free to send us a message too and be like, no, you guys are fucking idiots and here's why.
Yeah.
And we will read that on the podcast and we'll say, maybe we are idiots.
Yep, because we're just two people talking to one another, and the more voices that we have that express their opinions, then the better off we're going to be.
Right. I mean, this is literally an echo chamber in here, right? Yeah. This is me and you just in this one room talking.
And we are of the same genetic makeup, so it would it would make sense that we'd agree on some of this stuff.
Brought up the same, one thing that we and Wesley are thinking about doing is having our IQs tested by the Mensa Society, and then we'll read those results on the podcast. I think that would be fun.
Yeah.
So maybe
that'll probably say a lot about.
Yeah, it might. We might not want to know. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. Do you have anything you'd like to close with?
No, I'm going to try to do a better job of getting timestamps put on the episodes. That way,
timestamps.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll most of the time when I put the episode up or whatever, I'll kind of put up how kind of synopsis of what it is that we talk about, usually 4 to 5 points.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking of what, instead of doing that, putting like timestamps like intro, outro, and then topics as we cover them.
Okay.
That way, in case there's something that doesn't interest you, or you want to listen to a certain part of the podcast or whatever, then you'll have that ability to go and just kind of look at sort of where the sections are. I know that we jump around a bit, so I'm going to try to do a better job of that.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, there you go. See, we're getting better.
Yep.
We're starting to figure this out.
Slowly but surely, we're getting
very
there.
Slowly.
Yeah, very slowly.
Yeah.
2 years in, and we're...
Well, all right, everybody. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.